should stand by Trump. Joining me now, Shira Center political editor at the Boston Globe and conservative radio host Steve Deace. Steve, let me start with you because you have had such great analysis on Donald Trump from the beginning. Robert Costa of the Washington Post is now saying this: Trump is at Trump Tower per a person close to him, watching TV, tweeting with Bannon and others who encourage his I see your head dropping, his anti-establishment R sentiment. You dropped your head.
This is a man running for president of the United States. As my teenage daughter is fond of saying, Tamron, I can't even. I can't even. And I knew that we would get to this point. It's actually worse than what I had feared. And that's why I've been saying since May 3rd that this election was over. We're just talking about what the political body count's going to be. It's the column I wrote for USA Today the day that he became the presumptive nominee. This is over. And now what you're dealing with is we're at a two-stage process now in the next 28 days. For the next 28 days, the left is going to try and brand, and I would too if I were them, is going to try to brand every conservative as Donald Trump. To say, see, these are really the racist, misogynist, xenophobes we've been trying to tell you for 30 years that they are. And the second stage we're at is a lot of people are going to sit down now that he has really no chance of winning, and they're going to say, you know, I don't want to be that one person arguing for Donald Trump at the Thanksgiving gathering, so I'm not going to vote for him. And that's now where you start looking at a catastrophic level loss. And I think it is quite possible Republicans could be looking at something even worse than 2008, and it is almost all their own fault. Paul Ryan presided over a convention that could have stopped Donald Trump from bringing us to this point, but him and his fellow Wisconsinite, Reince Priebus, they dutifully showed up and said, thank you, sir, may I have another, and assume the position for Donald Trump. So you know what? The scriptures say when you sow the wind, you reap the whirlwind, and they're going to reap it now, Cameron.
They say that they were going with the will of the people. He did receive more votes than any of the 17 others who ran against him.
Except we live in a republic, not a democracy. And we allocate delegates based on voting share. So, yes, he got a majority of the delegates, but there's also delegates at the convention who had every opportunity by the rules of the party to affirm this and to make sure this was the candidate that they wanted. And Reince Priebus and Paul Ryan, who presided over that convention, decided, no, we're not going to allow that to happen. And they shouted down Mike Lee and Ken Cuccinelli and the people and the delegates around the country who wanted to have an open hearing about, do we understand the road we're going down? So they made this bet, so now they have to sleep in it.
Shira, let me bring you in because there is, I mean, we have to acknowledge it seems to be, it doesn't seem to be, there is a divide between the people who continue to support Donald Trump and the leadership who want to turn their backs. They are worried that Donald Trump supporters won't forget these tweets where it makes it appear that these disloyal Republicans are worse than Hillary Clinton. You have now also this evangelical op-ed that came out, the executive editor of Christianity Today, Andy Crouch. He says here, Trump has been his whole adult life an adulterer of this sort and a singularly unrepentant one. Should have been very clear to everyone. He is, in short, the very embodiment of what the Bible calls a fool. That is now at least one evangelical group turning on him. How does Speaker Ryan handle this at this point?
Yeah, well, Speaker Ryan is trying to balance three different interests in the palms of his hands right now. He has to worry about his own future. Does he want to run for president today? Does he want to be an effective leader of the House of Representatives for the next couple of years? So he has that on one hand. He has the Republican Party hand, which is divided. There is no question this election has brought those divisions to the forefront because, you know, it's sure this is a republic, but 20–30% at least of the Republican Party are diehard Trump supporters. They want this man to be president. And then on top of that, Paul Ryan has to balance something that a lot of other Republican politicians don't have to worry about, which is the actual House of Representatives and all of those members, which includes more moderate Republicans who don't want to see Trump elected. They may not say it publicly, but they don't want to see it but privately. They'll admit it. And then also the diehard Republicans, those 30%, well, they're members of the House of Representatives as well who do want to see Trump elected because he did win overwhelmingly in the Republican-dominant districts. So Paul Ryan really is balancing so many interests right now, and it's no wonder he keeps waltzing back and forth over the, will I campaign for him, will I not, do I endorse him, do I not? It's no wonder that he's stuck in the middle of all these things.
Let me play what Donald Trump said last night during one of his rallies, going back to something to your point, Steve, that we even heard at the convention in Cleveland. Let's play it.
Crooked Hillary Clinton. Oh, she's crooked, folks. She's crooked as a $3 bill. Okay, here's one. Just came out. Lock her up is right. No.
So, Cher, I'm highlighting in the end, the crowd chanted lock her up. At the convention, he, kind of said don't go that route. This time around, he's embracing it. How afraid of where this could go are you hearing Republicans are with, again, going back to this tweet where he's saying the shackles are off, Shira?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a class of Republican leadership that is very afraid of that idea. I mean, many people wrote after the debate when he was talking about appointing a special prosecutor that this is more along the lines of a dictatorship than the we live in. So there's certainly that segment of kind of the Republican elite that is extremely worried about his continued use of that language. That said, Donald Trump mightn't be thinking beyond November 8th. If he really believes he's galvanized this entire movement, and this is something he would want to follow November 8th and beyond. And that crowd, the people you hear cheering and screaming, lock her up at those rallies, those are the people behind that movement that could propel him to his next act, his next reality TV show, for goodness sakes.
And Steve, just quickly this morning, Joe Scarborough believes that there is still a chance for Donald Trump potentially to pull this out. That you have, again, you have so many people still looking for the next WikiLeaks, whether the supporters believe that these are doctored emails or not, that this could still hover over Hillary Clinton. You laugh at, in your mind, this is done.
I just kind of laughed at the mention of Joe Scarborough since he turned his show into a Trump super PAC for 6 months and is one of the reasons we're in this position. No, he doesn't have a chance. And my counterpart here on the panel is correct. What is going on now is he's had access to the Republican Party voter vault, Tamron, for 6 months. He's got every right-of-center consumer in America's. He's got all their information. This is about starting the next alt-right platform and an attempt to essentially disintegrate Fox News now that he's got Roger Ailes and Steve Bannon on board. That's what is coming next. This is not a strategy for victory. This is a strategy for marketing.
Well, I'm sure